police officer showed up at my job and said, "Your wife filed an emergency protective order against you this morning." For what? The officer just handed me the papers and walked away. The break room went dead silent. Every single person turned and stared at me like I was some kind of monster. I drove straight to the courthouse, and that's when I saw her sitting in the lobby with bruises all over her face and arms. She was sobbing into her mother's shoulder, and the second she looked up and saw me, she screamed, "Get him away from me!" loud enough for everyone to hear. But something felt wrong. The bruises on her arms were too perfect, too evenly spaced, like they were placed there on purpose. The judge granted the order anyway. I never touched her. I couldn't go back to my own house, so I stayed at my brother's place that night. The next morning, my boss called. "I'm sorry, but we have to suspend you pending an investigation. Your wife called HR and said you're dangerous." I lost access to my office, my email, everything. Then my phone started blowing up with texts from friends asking if I was okay, because my wife had been telling everyone I put her in the hospital. My own mother called me crying. "How could you do something like this?" I couldn't take it anymore, so I hired a lawyer. He told me the only way to get her financial records was to file for divorce, so that's exactly what I did. Once we had them, everything changed. There were charges at a hotel 45 minutes away on the exact night she claimed I attacked her. The charge was at 11 p.m., but I was asleep in our bed by 10 that night completely alone. She wasn't even home. He kept digging and found more hotel charges going back months, all with a second guest. Her affair partner, some guy named Wade, dinners for two, room service, weekend stays. She was with him while I thought my marriage was fine. My lawyer subpoenaed Wade to testify at the protective order hearing and warned him that lying under oath would make him an accomplice to perjury. The week before the hearing, I barely slept. When the day finally came, I walked in and saw my wife in the hallway surrounded by people hugging her and telling her how brave she was. She saw me and immediately started crying louder, burying her face in her hands while everyone glared at me. But the second they looked away, she dropped her hands and her face went completely flat, like a switch flipped off. Then she walked into the courtroom and told the judge. He grabbed me from behind and threw me into the wall. I ran barefoot to my car because I thought he was going to hurt me worse from behind, but her bruises were on the front of her arms. I looked at my lawyer and he gave me a small nod. Her mother sat in the gallery staring at her lap, refusing to look at anyone. When they finished, my wife looked right at me and mouthed the words, "You lose." Then my lawyer stood up. He holds up her bruise photos. "You testified he grabbed